This episode highlights a writer's experience applying the principles I teach and implement with my writers. I am talking to the writer today who wants to be an author, holding their published book in their hands and connecting with real readers on the other side. I'll share insights and breakthroughs that a past writer of mine had when we worked together, when she came to me frustrated that her completed manuscript wasn't getting any takers from readers or agents. Before we get into the meat of today's episode, I just wanted to let you know that today is the first of our Tuesday episodes. In case you missed our last episode on Friday, the Memoir Method podcast is now coming into your feed on Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesday episodes will be primarily for sharing specific writer stories and wins. And what's the most helpful for you, the listener, is for you to see the concepts that I talk about play out with real writers and real manuscripts. So that's what I'm going to bring to you every Tuesday. And then I'll be in your podcast on Fridays as well. And do not forget, this was also announced on Friday, I am on YouTube now. This podcast is on YouTube. So if that is more your speed, you can find me there. The link will be in the show notes. So with that out of the way, let's get into our first Tuesday episode. So what do you do when your memoir just is not landing with publishers or readers? One of my clients faced this exact problem. She had worked on her manuscript for years, poured her heart into it, and it still was not getting the results that she hoped for. So in today's episode, I'm going to share how we worked together over the course of a few months to solidify her memoir's foundation, polish her prose, and ultimately create a book that truly connects with her readers. This client slid into my DMs a few years ago with a very familiar experience. She was hearing crickets from traditional publishers and agents, and she did not know it was working. In addition to not quite understanding the publishing process and industry as well, her manuscript also was not hitting with the right people. It was not connecting with her reader, whether that reader was an agent or an actual reader from a bookstore. She had poured so much time and effort into her story, but she felt like she was missing something. And this is so common. Writers know that their story is compelling, but they have not yet made it relevant to their reader. That's the problem. And without that connection from the story to the reader, even the best stories can struggle to find their audience. This writer had a story that was truly stranger than fiction. It was dramatic and it was kind of mind-blowing, and it really made you think and examine the different systems in our world that may not be working the way they are designed to work. And so I knew that the story was there, but the way that she was presenting it was not landing. So what we did first was we didn't even start in the manuscript. Whenever I work one-on-one with a writer, I always start in the manuscript. I start with a full evaluation to really get a feel for where we are, what the most immediate needs are of the story, in addition to really understanding the details of the story that my writer is trying to tell. But when I start work with the writer, we put the manuscript aside and we start by solidifying the foundation of her memoir. We start by crafting a custom editorial strategy for her. So first we focused on her reader and her message. And once we knew what the story was truly about and who it was for, we use that to guide all of our structural revisions. This message became the anchor for everything else. This is an editorial strategy that we use together to determine how we revise, how we work with the structure, to determine how we craft the story in a way that is going to connect with and captivate the reader. So from there, once we had our strategy nailed in, the who, what, and why, we were able to then polish her prose. I was able to dive in on line level edits, really smoothing out her writing, amplifying her voice. And we made sure that every single chapter, every single story served the memoir, served the message, and kept the reader engaged. And this was like bringing the entire manuscript into alignment. If you think about the editorial strategy that we craft as a baseline, and then the existing manuscript as kind of, up here, down there, all over the place, applying an editorial strategy that is specifically crafted for your memoir. What this does is it brings all of those ups and downs and crazy parts of your manuscript in line with your strategy. Your strategy evens things out so that you are actually saying what it is that you want to say. So the result of this is that she has a published memoir now. She recently self-published, and she's getting this book into the hands of the readers that she most cares about. When you're thinking about your memoir and how you want to be published, right? Like I know that. I love seeing my name in print. It's so exciting. This is probably its own episode altogether, honestly, but the desire to be published is not enough. That's not going to be enough to get you over the finish line. That's not going to be enough to help you craft a truly compelling and impactful memoir. You have to be writing for your reader, and you have to care about them. You have to care about their experience reading and the message that you're there to share, the message that your story is ultimately serving. And so this writer, she has her memoir. It's in print. I have it on my bookshelf over there. And she's now able to distribute it to make sure that it gets into the hands of the people who need it. She has very specific readers who need this book, people in very specific industries and sectors of our public systems who need her story because her story serves a message that matters to the collective. And that is what we did together. We stripped everything down, figured out an editorial strategy that served her reader, that served her as a writer, one that she could stay excited about, one that she was able to really dig into and spend real time in. And now her memoir's here. And I was so excited to get it in the mail because she did it. And she's getting it into the hands of the readers that she was thinking about this entire time that she was writing. So if you're not sure why your memoir isn't landing, whether you have a completed manuscript and you're trying to find takers in the traditional publishing market, if you've self-published, however it is that you're going about this, if you aren't sure why your memoir isn't connecting, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. 1, is it clear what my story is about? And 2, is this relevant to my reader? Those 2 questions are going to completely change the way that you approach your revisions and completely change the way that you approach your manuscript as an author and as a writer with an editorial lens. Being able to self-edit and pull in an editorial strategy as a writer is going to leapfrog you forward in the process. If you want more strategies for revising and polishing your memoir, just join my email list. You're going to get exclusive tips and resources to help you move forward with confidence. That's what I want you to do. My job is to help you shortcut the process and shortcut it in ways that help you write smarter, not harder. I'm not here to give you hacks that's going to produce a half-assed memoir. I'm here to give you hacks that's going to help you write smarter, not harder, that will highlight what you don't know, and to give you a path forward so that you can write the memoir that you are here to write. I promise there's a reader on the other side of this. I promise you there's a reader who's waiting for you to complete your memoir. And so join my email list. They are the first to get exclusive tips, resources, links, all the things to help you move forward in your writing, to help you get closer to that printed, finished manuscript. So I cannot wait to connect with you. You can also follow me on Instagram at Charlotte Jane Writes. And I'm here for you. You've got this. I'll see you on Friday.